Welcome back. I want to get straight to Caitlin Polance. Caitlin, for those who are just catching up, we do have a transcript, a very long transcript of the interview that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche conducted with Ghislaine Maxwell inside prison. She's serving her 20-year sentence, and you have some new audio because it's a transcript and also audio recordings. What does it say?
Yeah, Dana, the Justice Department did also release the audio recording of Ghislaine Maxwell speaking to Todd Blanche at the end of July. She says she struggles to remember some of the things that happened years ago with Jeffrey Epstein. Here's a little more from that audio.
And then I believe, I don't remember, I think I got a phone call, actually. I wasn't in Palm Beach. I think I got a phone call that there was a police at his house or something.
So, Dana, one of the things that is coming out bit by bit as we're reading this transcript and the various answers Ghislaine Maxwell is giving to the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is that she is distancing herself from any possible sexual abuse of girls who would be underage, or the fact that she may have known that there were girls underage around Epstein, distancing herself from saying when Epstein was at Mar-a-Lago, for instance, where he has been accused of finding a masseuse there, that is something that she wasn't there with him for, that she was at Mar-a-Lago alone if she had gone there. She also is saying that she doesn't believe the testimony of one of the victims who testified at her trial under oath of abuse at the age of 14, 15, 16. She says that she believes that person's testimony is incorrect, that it is inaccurate, and she also is saying that she is not here to defend Jeffrey Epstein, but she generally does not remember or is privy to things that he had been accused of. Dana?
Well, the jury believed those victims and survivors, and clearly not her. Thank you so much for that. Back with the panel, and Shan Wu, former federal prosecutor, is here. I'd like you to weigh in on what we've been seeing and hearing so far.
Well, it sounds like what you would expect of the way that this has happened. She's basically vouching that President Trump's a gentleman, hasn't done anything wrong. She has really poor recollection of things decades ago, and not at all unexpected, she's really trying to do a favor for herself, having this chance now with no real consequences. It's only an upside for her to say that she didn't have much to do with this. And from a prosecutorial standpoint, that's preposterous for this kind of interview. I mean, the basic rule is you need to be completely straight with us. You need to own up to what you're convicted for. This is not a chance for you to revisit the trial allegations and claim that actually you didn't have much to do with this. So it looks pretty bad.
Joey Jackson, I want to bring you in. I assume you're in New York. You're a legal analyst and obviously a powerhouse attorney. Your initial read of what we're seeing?
So, Dana, when us attorneys are in court, we approach jurors and we always ask them to use their common sense and good judgment. Why is that relevant here? It's relevant here because what's mystifying to me is that you're stonewalling the release of the Epstein files. You're stonewalling information which will be written, documentation and investigation that has been longstanding where everyone can see from themselves, right? Yes, it'll be redacted. What does that mean, Dan? It means you black out things that you want to protect the privacy of victims, etc. But if you release the files, everyone could see exactly what happened. You don't do that. But instead you send your former defense attorney to go and investigate, and you get information, which obviously is the information you're looking for. Not only did she indicate, Dana, that is Ghislaine Maxwell in this interview, that Mr. Trump did nothing wrong at all, but she indicates how she likes him very much. Her father likes him very much. She admires him very much. There was nothing inappropriate done. And so what am I saying? If you want to get to transparency, what you do is you release the information. So my takeaway from this is that the files, the Epstein files, become more important than ever with respect to letting them be the voice, the files themselves, for what happened. In addition to that, Dana, the corroboration, right, will be important. What does corroboration mean? It means I don't care what you tell me. I care what the records say, what the emails say, what the phone logs say, what the text messages say, what the surveillance says, what the receipts and the flight records, etc. say. And so it's just really disturbing, last point, and that is there's one one person in the universe that can help her. One. And that's the person sitting in the White House, because he can pardon her. No one else can. And so do we really expect, and should we be surprised that she would say anything different from what she said? Now, last point down, and that's this. Of course, the other side will say, you see, we told you so. What did she say? Everyone's saying that Mr. Trump may have been involved, but she tells you he did nothing wrong. She tells you he said nothing wrong, that he's a gentleman. What else do we need? My answer to that question, Dan, is we need an awful lot other than her word for everyone to be satisfied that the truth is the truth is the truth.
Well said. Back here with the panel, I want to play something that the sister-in-law of Virginia Giuffre said. Now, she was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and she took her own life earlier this year. She was talking specifically, the sister-in-law was talking specifically about Ghislaine Maxwell.
This wasn't someone who was a minor player. This was someone who was an organizer in this sex trafficking ring. She was alongside Jeffrey Epstein, and as Virginia said, she was most of the time worse than him.
Shan?
Well, that really goes to the point of why are you giving her a chance now to basically back away from it? And she's really just auditioning for the PR tour of, if she is pardoned or sentence commuted, that these are the reasons why. Trump can say, oh, I kind of believe her, she was the scapegoat for this. But the evidence was completely against her, and her value, if there is any value for what she might disclose now about what happened back then, is totally undermined. I mean, if she can't be honest about what she was convicted of, there's no point here. I mean, she has a right to appeal the case, sure, let her do that. But if you're trying to interview her as a cooperating witness, this is not the way to start.
No, it's a political witness, not a witness for a court of law. And again, they want these quotes, these audio sound bites of her not only exonerating President Trump, but praising President Trump, as Joey Jackson was just talking about, to be pushed out into the conservative media and just general media bloodstream.
Yeah, she has no memory of a lot of things, but she does remember that Donald Trump was always a gentleman. And I'd also say that, you know, she talked in the interview that she felt that her own prosecution was politicized, which was under Trump 1.0, by the way, because she said there was a mob mentality. Well, who sicked the mob on them? It was the right wing. It was not just Trump, but all of his allies. That if you want to believe that this prosecution was politicized, it's the exact same people that they're trying to convince now that there is nothing to this.
Well, and also, the funny thing here is that the Justice Department's whole reasoning to interview her, and the whole reason why Todd Blanche wanted to sit down with her in the first place, is to get new information on potentially any information on other people that they could potentially prosecute. That information should have come out at some point back whenever she was prosecuted, not now. Todd Blanche knew that. I can't name one thing that I have heard from the coverage so far that has come out that would potentially implicate anybody else, any of his associates, and that would have furthered this case even more, or that prosecutors, or evidence that prosecutors missed back in the day when Epstein was prosecuted. So again, this emphasizes the political nature in this, and actually that Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi were wrong. There wasn't anything new that came of this that would advance this case further. It is all to please the MAGA base.
Well, but wait a minute. Democrats are demanding that all of a sudden Pam Bondi do everything in her power to release more information. And so she's got to do what she can do. And one of the things she could do...
MAGA's doing that. That's why she's...
House Democrats have tried to attach bills to subpoena and cause more votes on this, on every bill unrelated. I mean, this is the current pet project of the House Democrats.
This is the pet project of the MAGA base.
And the House Democrats.
And what's happening with the House Democrats is that Pam Bondi said that she was going to release it. And all of a sudden, when we find out that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, all of a sudden, the Justice Department cannot release the files. This just shows you that the Justice Department is there to be the president's lawyer, not there to actually
wait a minute,
justice. And so this is a constant theme of the current Justice Department. They continue to act political at every turn.
The Department of Justice has a history of being the president's lawyer. Eric Holder said he was a Barack Obama's wingman. RFK was Bobby Kennedy's brother.
Stand by. I want to go back to Caitlin Polans. Caitlin, one of the things that has come up recently is a so-called birthday book for Jeffrey Epstein that Maxwell was reported by the Wall Street Journal to have organized. Was she asked about that?
She was indeed. She remembers the book, the 50th anniversary book, but Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, asks her about the report in the Wall Street Journal of whether Donald Trump was asked to submit a letter or had submitted a letter for this birthday book. Todd Blanche does mention in this interview with Ghislaine Maxwell last month that the Journal story mentions a picture of a naked woman or something like that. That's how Blanche phrases it when he's asking about what Trump was alleged to have submitted. And she says she doesn't remember. She remembers the book. She remembers it being leather bound. She remembers it being big. On heavy stock paper was what was printed there, and not about any specifics regarding who was sending things in and whether Trump sent anything in himself. Trump has denied writing that note that the Wall Street Journal has reported on. I should say that there is a lawsuit over that now in existence in the court system. But one of these moments where Ghislaine Maxwell just doesn't remember. Dana, here's a little bit more of how Ghislaine Maxwell distances herself from the memory of Epstein and Epstein in his behavior.
I just want to say for the record that I do believe that Epstein did a lot of, not all, but some of what he's accused of. And I'm not here to defend him in any respect whatsoever. I don't want to, and I don't think he requires nor deserves any type of protection or for me in any way to sugarcoat what he did or didn't do.
Dana, that's Ghislaine Maxwell, convicted of sex trafficking of minors in a conspiracy, and that she says in this interview, though, that she did not participate in that activity with underage girls.
Right, which she says, and those who are victims of Epstein or the family members of at least one, Virginia Giuffre, who took her own life, says that Virginia Giuffre told them that she very much did. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. Caitlin, stand by. Shan Wu, thank you so much for coming in.